National Conference of State Legislatures, and my colleague here in Congress and the author of this resolution, Mr. Costa, requires and needs. Thank you.
The gentleman from California, Mr. Costa, is recognized.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. And I want to thank the gentleman from Tennessee, my colleague and good friend, Representative Cohen, for his hard work on not only in behalf of the people of Tennessee, but our nation in ensuring that good work is done. I do appreciate serving with you. Mr. Speaker, I rise today in support of House Resolution 1104 to honor the National Crime Victims' Rights Week, which occurred this week from April 18th through April 24th. As founders and co-chair of the Congressional Victims' Rights Caucus, Congressman Ted Poe, who just spoke, really stated it very clearly. He, who in a previous life served as a judge in Texas, saw firsthand the challenges of trying to ensure that justice was served, not just to the criminals, but to ensure that the victims of those crimes, as he sat and listened in his court on a daily basis, were understood, and that in ways that justice needs to, that they were reached out to. I want to congratulate my colleague, Congressman Ted Poe, for his previous service and his service today on behalf of not just Texans, but all Americans and those who care deeply about the impacts of crime and the victims that those crimes have created. This year, the theme is fairness, dignity, and respect. Three things which all victims deserve: fairness, dignity, and respect. Last week, the Victims' Rights Caucus hosted, Congressman Poe and I and other members, the Victim Rights Caucus Awards ceremony to honor 6 individuals throughout the country for their outstanding accomplishments in the field of victim services and victims advocacy. The National Crime Victims' Rights Week helps us all to be more aware, to acknowledge, and to celebrate all the providers who are there for victims of crime, and to support the criminal justice professionals who provide critical assistance to victims all across our nation. I know, having been involved in California, as all of my colleagues in their own respective states, that these professionals each day on a 24/7 basis throughout the week see the horrific impacts of these crimes. Crime knows no bounds, and crime victims deserve our support and services to help them cope. They are our neighbors, they are our friends, they are our family members, those who are victims of crimes. And as was noted earlier by my colleagues, the VOCA Fund that was created by Congress in 1984 and signed into law by President Reagan has for decades now reached out and provided necessary funds for over 4,000 organizations throughout our country to provide support for those victims of crime. So I want to encourage my colleagues to support this resolution, to show that crime victims, that we stand together in a bipartisan fashion for that fairness, for that dignity, and for that respect. And we will continue to be supportive of common sense approaches in assisting these individuals in their time of need. I thank you very much, Mr. Speaker, and I yield back the balance of my time.
The gentleman yields back the balance of his time. The gentleman from Tennessee reserves. The gentleman from Texas is recognized.
Mr. Speaker, I